because I just copy pasted the email or the website into my web browser, and it some introductions. We'll go around and say your name and pronouns. Student, that's the usual, right? I'll go first. Alicia Rani, she, her, and I've second grader Sebastian. Sorry.
Cool. I'm Brady, he, him. I'm a kindergartner, and I'm helping out with communications this year a little bit. So,
Zach, he, him, Walter, and kindergarten.
Oh, I'm Paul, he, him, and Silas in kindergarten.
I'm Mike, he, him, and I have a daughter, Evelyn, in kindergarten.
I'm sorry, what's he, him?
We're pronouns.
So it's your preferred gender identity or how you like to be referred to.
Oh, okay. So I'm Kim Rasmussen, she. And I have 3 kids, first, third, and fifth.
nice.
Hi, Kimberly. I have a first grade son, Henry, and she, her.
Brianna, and she, her.
Diego DePaz, he, him, and I'm the principal of Bancroft.
I am the assistant principal. Sorry, I knew I was missing something.
For now.
I'm Sarah Greenfield. I'm the secretary, and I have a daughter in second grade. Yeah. And I use she, her pronouns.
Great. Just in time, Kimberly.
I know. Like, after I had my meltdown last night, I pulled it all together because I just got mad at somebody at work today, and I was like, I'm going to work for the PTO instead of So, are you really ready for me?
Yeah.
All right, so I think that I filled in most of the missing items that we had last month in the budget. And so here, I'll just pass them both ways. There are, on the front side is the income, the back side is expected expense. There are no changes in the income, but I did fill in, started with year to date, so that we can see as money comes in, like for example, the $12,000 that we received. And there's a $17 donation because Andy McClure renewed the web URL and decided to just have it be a donation. So I'm going to track all of those. I have an ongoing register so that I'll be able to give you all updates on a regular basis about what's come in, we've paid for, and I of course ran into the house and out of the house and didn't bring my computer where I could see the register, but I think it's that we have paid for, I want to say 5 field trips so far this year for kinders in first grade, and we paid the deposit on the 5th grade camp. And a couple other things that have already been processed this year, and that it's been a very smooth process to do that. I get requests from different people. I do try to make sure in the mornings when I drop Henry off to go and look at the PTO inbox and see if there's anything that's come in there as an invoice from somebody that they haven't managed to mention to me yet. But for the most part, like administration and staff has been really communicative on email, and I've gotten all the receipts that we need. So we have a pretty good accounting. If you flip over to the expense side, I am going back and forth a little bit with Sue on how we come up with what is the actual right number for field trips versus camp and keeping them separate. And then she had some ideas for a couple other field trips to separate out, like Starbase.
Yep.
And so I'm going to get together with her in the next couple weeks, so we'll just have more line items. But I picked for field trips the $17,000 that as a group we all talked about at last month's meeting as being, you know, let's just estimate that that's how much we're going to spend. That's outside of the 5th grade camp amount. That I don't, oh yeah, I do have it in there, sorry.
That does not include camp. 17,000?
It's a different, no,
Okay.
yeah. So,
Seems
because I
really
tried to
high,
go
but
back.
I think we'll,
We'll figure
We'll
that
figure it
out,
out,
because
yep.
this is of course an estimate,
yep,
and then we'll change it. So it's not that we are committing that absolutely, but we have the money in our funds without it being detrimental to the PTO. And we had talked about this last month, so I think that sometime before the November meeting, Sue and I will get together and we'll sit down and we're gonna do it. Like, she's got the list that she had from last year of what the actual field trips were. I've got the account ledger from last year of what was actually paid, and we're gonna bring them together.
Perfect.
So that we have a good ongoing list that we can track. And then if we have any new field trip ideas or changes, then we'll be able to actually see the year-over-year trends. Then the one last thing that was out there is the bus fee for the ASD swim trips. I just need somebody to give me a ballpark, because I don't know, I doubt very highly that what I pay as a corporate person, even for school buses, is different from what the school pays. Gosh, I hope so. So, and I'll fill that in after the fact, but I think last month we committed to 2.
good.
Can I ask on the, actually, on the, comes out the book fair,
Yes,
it already ran, correct?
yes, but we don't know the amount
Got
because
it.
the kids are all turning in their forms.
Got it.
Or, sorry, not the
The-
book fair.
The readathon is running.
That
The
is
book fair
what,
happened
the
over
book fair,
conference.
yes, and then the book fair Nicole was giving a report on, and I can't remember, did she? Because I don't have it in front of me. Did she give us the figure? I don't think she
In
did.
her email?
Yeah, I don't think she did. So that,
She has a very sick kid today.
yeah, she has, unfortunately, she has a sick kid, so, we will have that amount
Sure.
from Red Balloon. We just don't have it in yet.
Were the readathon due today?
They were due today. Well, actually, Linda sent on a message, I think, that they have to be by Wednesday. So you've got, you can go rattle them
That's
around.
right.
For all I know, mine is still in the backpack. Didn't make it out this morning, so,
Yeah, she doesn't have the final invoice to see how much they
okay.
earned and how to spend.
So I would expect that we'll have that next month, and I'm thinking that we will also have the readathon that month, next month too.
Sure.
Is there a cart for pizza?
Yeah. Cart. They just
Do you
downstairs.
need,
They should be here
do you
in
need
just
a,
any second.
Alicia, do you need a check to write to them, or did you put it on?
Yes, I do need a check to write to them. And I wish I could tell you how much it was.
It's okay,
I didn't write it down.
it's okay, because you can just, you have signing privileges.
Okay. That works.
There you go, just
Sorry
bring,
for
just
the
bring a receipt back.
brief intro.
That's not, I think that happened last month. That was something else. Okay, what was the other things that I wanted to call out to your attention? On the childcare line, we might increase that a little bit. That actually is exactly $50 for every single meeting, but some of you will have seen a message from Linda today. Last month was really overwhelming for Amy, and luckily Paul's wife was here and offered to, it was your wife, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, offered to help. I stopped and talked to Amy on my way up here, but I think that if we ask people to RSVP if they're bringing kids with them, if we need a second person, then we should have that available. Because Amy was like, you know, when you have 2-year-olds and 8-year-olds and there's 17 of them, that's
Yeah.
too much to ask. Yeah, so,
And we, I mean, high five, when the kids are 4 and 5, the ratio is 1 to 10 with
Right.
adults and kids, so I think.
and I think that that's that we just use that number regardless of the age of the children, as we err on the side of keeping our kids safe. It's dark out and it's cold and all of that.
What was, if I can ask, what made last meeting so populous? Particularly compared to this meeting, you know, I mean, like, how do you gauge, right?
It's colder today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there weren't, it didn't
But then
seem
we-
like overflowing last month either in terms of parents here, but,
It was full,
yeah,
the table.
yeah, but
I would
Yeah,
say-
it's honestly, probably you'll see, it's hit or miss from meeting to meeting. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never, it's never felt the same. I would say that there's usually, at least last year, there was a core group always here,
Yeah.
but then sometimes there'd be a lot of people here and sometimes just the core
the core
group.
group.
I would assume that since Halloween is
Mhm.
also this week, people are
Holiday, yeah.
probably arranging work and
Mhm.
responsibility schedules
to
around
do
that.
another evening, yeah.
Mhm.
But that's an assumption.
Yeah.
And I assume, well, maybe this is a separate conversation, but if we were gonna have people RSVP for childcare, we would still attempt to accept people who hadn't RSVP'd, but it would just give us a heads up.
It would give us a
when
heads
it's-
up.
if
I
we
think
know
that
we're
like
at 10.
once we cross the 10 number,
Yeah,
then we just say, let's open it up to 2. And Linda and I usually don't communicate about childcare until like 2 in the afternoon on the day of the meeting anyway. And I know that that's last minute, but I know she's got a network of
Yeah, I mean,
teachers
it's,
in the
yeah.
building who she reaches out to.
Yep. There's usually 1, 2, or 3, or 4 people that eventually are willing to do it, so it's not like we have to. I mean, it's either Amy or sometimes it's Miss Rebecca's done it or Miss Sue from High Five has done it. So there's not a shortage of people to
help.
do childcare.
Yeah. And if it's last minute, it doesn't, I think we can just have that out there. It's probably a better practice.
Right.
So what I might do is increase the expected to, let's just say 2 for the rest of the year, because we don't spend the budget, we come in under budget, that's okay. But at least we'll know that this is how much it could be, so that we're watching the other expenses. The other item that I wanted to call to your attention is I didn't put anything in for building enhancements because we don't really know what it could be. We don't really know what children or teachers or staff could come with great ideas. I think we should leave it. My proposal is that we leave it in the budget as TBD. It would be something that we would consider, I think, as a full PTO, if this is something that's gonna be supposedly like in the building in perpetuity anyway. And then we fill it in after the fact and just leave it for now as sort of a special project. And then I would just open it up. Does anybody have any questions about this? And I'm happy to share the ongoing ledger with everybody. The balance that I have at the top is as of today in the bank. I'm still a little bit, and Alicia will have to help me with this, I'm still a little bit unclear about the difference between the checking and the savings account. So, thank you.
It's not a
for
graceful
that.
way to handle pizza in the middle of a meeting.
I know, but I appreciate you taking that for me, because as you know, I was having a
It's a new
rough
role
time
for the
24 hours ago.
PTO.
And I came home and there's no front to my house, so
Oh, wow.
it's exciting, but it's stressful.
Mm.
Okay.
Where are we at?
I just went through the budget, basically opened it up to questions, if anybody has any other questions. So then I guess it would be,
I just wanted to reiterate the suggestion / request for automated air fresheners in the bathroom off the cafeteria. I don't know if that was voted down or just hasn't, kind of fell through between the cracks, or.
I don't think it officially got into the suggestion list for this school year. So I remember that from previous years, or we just brainstorming ideas, I think. But
I just don't think it's a very good entry for, you know, people who might be visiting, and that's the main bathrooms when you come in, to smell like a very bad porta potty.
it was tough during the plant sale.
Yeah, I can connect with Heidi and our engineers to see just the cleaning schedule of it, and then look into see if there's the little automatic dispensers like there in some of the big box stores or things like that just kind of shoots out. But we also have to be careful with kids and adults who have
Allergies, totally
allergies
understand
and
that.
smell
Like,
sensitivities
I'm
and
sorry. No, that's
those
okay.
things. And so I think
Yeah.
just
They've got
being
such-
cognizant of that, we got to be
Yeah,
careful
they've
too.
got just such great advancements in that
They
stuff
have.
today,
They
you
have
know,
some
that is
that
like
are-
almost not even there, or it just cancels smells, it doesn't, you know,
Right.
perfume the air. I mean, there's choices.
Just depends
But
on-
those, I mean, it's a high traffic bathroom, and so we
No, I
got
totally understand that.
4-year-olds
I'm just-
through
whatever
11-year-olds
we can
through
do about
60-year-olds
that.
using that. So it's, we'll do
I
the best
mean,
we
I-
can. I'll connect with Heidi and see what we can do through just building and grounds and
I
what
came
they
in, I
have.
came into, after school, you know, meet my kids for after school, and the one bathroom didn't have any toilet paper, the other bathroom didn't have any hand soap, and somebody had gotten decorative with their feces. And then also the smell, and I was just like, I don't like that to represent, you know, the school where my kids go. I think the school is so great and so much better. Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess the
don't disagree.
proposal is, does this group approve us using this as our budget guide, I'll call it, because there's still some missing.
This budget guide, this,
Do you have, I know you haven't had time to do that alone.
I think this looks great to me.
And I did get the register back today.
Yeah.
So it's up to date.
In terms of the ending cash, I guess, like, how is that, like, aligned with what has been kind of year over year?
When I looked back, like the last 4 years, it's
Okay.
very similar.
Is there something we can do with the ending, since it's like it's projected as ending cash, like, is there something we can do with it while we're not spending it that will, like, other than the savings?
Yeah. I don't think it's enough money for it to be, I have the same thing that goes on with the foundation of my company that I
Okay.
run. And it's like, it's not enough money for it to be worth the administrative fees
Mhm.
to try to do something more with it. And in
Yeah.
fact, with my company foundation, we pulled everything out of investment accounts because it wasn't doing anything for us, and you had to jump through so many hoops
Sure.
to get access to it.
I guess what I was thinking is, like, is there something like more year over year that we could think about, like, as a long-term investment that could kind of turn some of that into more, like, if we think about over the next 5 years, if we, like, think of a fund.
Right.
I
I
don't know.
suppose the difference is, and this is an excellent question, is do we want to be going towards building an endowment? Or, because I know that this is kind of the emergency if for some reason the Masons stopped giving, right? We would have a couple years to figure stuff out without it being detrimental to the kids. And yeah, could we have a better strategy? To that, I would say I'm actually not a finance person at all. So I have people who do this for me. Sorry. So I wouldn't even know where to begin, but I would absolutely be open to other people's suggestions if they wanted to do something bigger.
And this doesn't always, this also, I mean, part of this pot of money could include like, any of our bankrupt capital that might be bigger pieces that, I mean.
And that was one of the things that I called out when you were thank you getting the pizza, is that I left that as TBD because we don't know what kind of projects might be brought to us for consideration. So we leave it there to make sure that we call our attention to it and we remember. But it could, you know, it could be $5,000, it could be $25,000.
Right.
It just depends on how great and monolithic the idea is. All right, so do I call the vote?
Are you a second? I second whatever you just motioned.
I think we're not using
Yeah, we're not-
motions,
We're
right?
not
we're
really
just,
using
like,
motions,
up,
we're just
down.
saying, do you agree?
Do you agree?
Yeah, approve.
Anybody want to stand aside? It's that. And everybody, if you don't vote, that means that you might have something that you
If you have a
disagree with.
question or you disagree with something, vote down and then we stop.
Yeah, if you want to stand aside, you can just go like that. So new parents. Just go ahead.
So we're just voting on the framework, right?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. And I'll do an update every meeting on where we stand.
Thank you. So we wanted to do a debrief on the readathon and the book fair. We got some messages from Linda that some of the teachers, in terms of, maybe I'm skipping towards, no, I'm talking about the book readathon. In previous years, many years prior to the, 2 or 3 years ago, there was more of an on-ramp to the readathon and like more time to have like, so there sounds like there's other teachers that really appreciated it. It was low-key, it was less disruptive. But so there's some feedback from, I guess, the staff or the teachers around the readathon, and then maybe also some feedback around a debrief from us, from our perspective in terms of rolling it out too. So and I don't know if we got final numbers, but I did notice an uptick between the time that we did the reminder email and the final count. There was like at least 20 more donations, so I'm glad we did that, even though it was kind of mid-late of the last week. Got an extra.
Is that what that money from Squaries? I sent a message. 'Cause
That might have been the
there
book
were
fair, because that was
Okay.
used there
Yeah,
too.
I don't think it was square, this would be from it would
Give
come,
them in.
give them in.
Yeah.
And
Oh, so it'd be my cause.
Yeah.
We did just get a big donation from my cause that I sent you a message like, what is that? Just appeared in the bank account. Okay, good.
So, open up for thoughts.
Yeah, I guess one piece on that, like, and I don't know if this is maybe the right forum to discuss this, but I'm just gonna bring it up. So the incentive on the readathon was definitely for like collecting donations and not for like reading. Like if the language of what was on the envelope was definitely trying to push collect donations over read as much as you can during the readathon. So I would just kind of make sure that we're adjusting that to be more about the activity of reading, where the collection of donations is a secondary benefit.
And from a personal experience standpoint, you know, our household didn't participate because I don't think we got anything in our packets from our class, which is kindergarten. And as you know, in the email I sent out, I actually really was uninformed. And I imagine that there were other parents like me, and maybe if the push was more like, this is a brand new, rather than this is an institutional thing that we do all the time, would that have helped in terms of the excitement level? I don't know. I don't know how many new parents there were with the older kids that were in the same boat, but, you know.
But the readathon wasn't new.
No, I know, I get that, but I think if it was sort of sold like it was, then it would catch the folks like me that really came in with zero understanding of what was going on. And then for my son, you know, the reading is just, you know, it's still a new thing anyway. So it was just a thing, but I don't know if that piggybacks on this notion that the looking at the way it's sold as an activity, so that it's, well, because it seems that people were disengaged or unengaged.
Yeah, there did seem to be less of a drive this year than in, like even say the last year.
Did it fall in the same, like, part of the calendar as last year?
Exactly the same, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Because
the
the
new,
thought being that
MEA.
parents and kids have more time because of MEA, if they can take it to
Plus-
focus on the reading.
yeah, plus it's kind of a fall, you know, fundraiser, as the plant sale is kind of the spring fundraiser, you know, kind of on opposite ends.
And November is too late to do it? If we pushed it into November?
I mean, when we have a week off of school.
I know we have the week off, like, the first couple weeks of November. Just thinking it's a little darker out, kids aren't outside as much at that point compared to October to like early November.
It's actually kind of a good point, because you know, we try to suck up every single last moment of sunshine here.
That's-
Valid.
That's kind of
That's
valid,
good.
yeah, when we're like, oh no, winter's really
I mean,
coming.
you got that whole kind of week.
Yeah,
You
well,
know, to
and just
get
from
that.
a PTO's perspective, we had that first meeting, and we really didn't do any planning for it that I know of, and it was sort of like it was there. So it kind of came, and, you know, we never really had a chance to plan it or anything, so maybe it'd give us another meeting to plan it, and like how to push it out, and make it more colorful and fun, and.
And that might help too,
kidsy,
because that
you
might
know.
get Linda help what she needs.
Right. And I don't know, I mean, from the school side or historically, I don't know why it's been, I don't know if there's a reason why we have it in that October timeframe,
Right.
or if we can push it to November, or, I mean, February is I Love to Read Month, why can't we just do it in February?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
It
it's just
doesn't
a-
matter when we do.
Yeah,
the
so I don't know if there's a
to me, it
rationale
doesn't matter
behind it.
if
Yeah.
we,
Yeah, Feb would be
although
good too.
there's the theory that kids are going back to the same well and but for two very different reasons. I mean, people buy plants because they want to put them in their garden.
And to sort of be on the side of maybe not necessarily moving the time frame, but for example, that first meeting was very much a get to know you. we could have put planning as the first activity, like the first real work of PTO
Yeah.
in that September meeting.
Sure.
And it could be sold as, hey, parents, we're doing PTO, come volunteer, and by the way,
These are the things
This
we're
is the
gonna
very
ask you
first
to
thing out
sign
the
up
gate.
for to
Yeah.
help us make them even better.
and then that might have allowed us to roll a little more
Yeah.
prep and engagement and that kind of thing into it, instead of, because it was kind of just a tag on the second meeting that we had.
Yeah, I
I'm
think-
sure there's ways to make it interactive too, like we could have like a table graph or some sort of chart in the cafeteria where like kids color in the minutes they read and see which grade level's reading the most minutes, or, they glue like pom-poms on there or something. I mean, there's ways to make it
Yeah, I
fun,
guess-
interactive, and like you said, focus on the reading aspect, not just the raising money aspect.
Yeah, I like the idea of having like a team goal too, like a grade level or a classroom level. So it's not just individual, but like a group's kind of, you can
Yeah.
check in and say, hey, where are we at classroom
I like
105?
And I love that
That's
idea,
a
because
really
right now
good
they don't have a goal.
There's a challenge
Yeah.
with doing it like within a break period though too, because they aren't gonna be able to have like update,
Sure.
But if you did it like even a week before, or if it was like the first week of Thanksgiving and then it went into the second week of school, then they could
It'd be
come
like you
back
come
and
back
like,
from your time
and
off,
color
how
in
much
your
did you
time
do?
off,
Yeah.
and then you get one less like push to like put,
Yeah.
be more competitive, so that might be a.
I also think there was kind of like a little bit of like synergy missing, like with, well, there's the book fair, which happened right at the top of the readathon, but we didn't have any like, hey, here's the readathon, like here's what's going on with the readathon while we're selling books to you, right? Like there was a kind of just a missed opportunity there, so.
I like all of these ideas, and I thought that, like, for me, I just didn't do it very much for no good excuse at all, but particular excuse. I do feel like it'd be helpful for me with that, and I felt this with the plant sale last year too, of like the thing that either on the envelope or something that came home with it was kind of a wrap, like about what the money goes for, because I'm just like, Mom, will you give Kayla some money, and I'll give Kayla some money, and then like her neighbor, but if just, I know well enough I could have done it myself, but I think that'd be helpful for us to provide to all parents that just says like this funds, so that none of our kids have to pay individually for field trips, and
Yeah,
tell people what they're giving for.
That's a great.
Yeah, if there's something specific too, that's
Yeah.
right around 3,000-4,000 that.
Here's what it pays for. I mean, you
know,
can do the
whatever's in
like
there, you know,
Right.
you could just pick something.
$25 pays
Right.
for this, like $50 pays for this. If we raise $5,000, it will cover X. Make it tangible for people. This many kids get to have this kind of a field trip experience.
Yeah, so we've kind of identified, I guess, that like part of this was, this happened so early in the year. Like, oh no, what happened, Fred?
He bumped his head, sorry.
Oh, no.
And I just decided, I'll just bring him down. We got him an ice bath.
All right.
I'm not
You
quite
okay?
sure, but just thought
Yeah.
we'd come check with Dad.
Like, how can we make sure that like this, whatever we talk about today, and like through this year, is like readily available for the next group of people that's here starting September?
That's
Right.
Stay engaged. and
Well,
come
right,
to the
so
meetings,
stay
'cause
engaged, but
that's
like,
part
how can
of
we
the
make it less about like,
confidence issue.
less about like or like tribal knowledge and more about like, here's a resource that we can all build on and share, right? I think that's what, like, right now, like, I'm having a hard time like moving forward on any of the stuff that like we've talked about, because like, one, I haven't even shared out like the email list of everyone here, right? Like, so getting a place where we can do all of this collaboration, I think is really important.
I think we're also I love all these ideas, and I think this is a great place for us to start, but we're also kind of going from like, not a whole lot of structure, and we're building structure as we go, so I think these reflections are really super good, and I think that we can like pull these into notes, and I'd like to have like, What's hard is the on-ramp into the year, because me and one other parent who wasn't able to take on a PTO role. We met in the summertime to just like have a general plan. That was just to like, let's have a structure. So next year, I won't have to do that, but we'll have like kind of like an on-ramp on like, these are the activities, and we can have maybe a few parents who just want to have coffee real quick so we can know what we're coming into, because that's it's a big shift moving into it, but I think these reflections are all on point, and I agree. I like all
And just to back up what Alicia's saying, I think we're starting at, I want to say, I don't want to say zero, but we were basically starting at zero. You know, we didn't have much structure. We just kind of were the group of parents that were site council and the group of parents that were PTO all together. And PTO didn't have a structure like this. We had a treasurer kind of, and we kind of had a PTO president, but there wasn't that much of a presence in the school. And I feel like we've made tremendous strides just in the 2.5 months that we've started this group, and from what we had done since I've been here for 5 years.
We have nowhere to go but up.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
so I think-
have had dedicated
yeah,
parents.
so I think all the comments and reflections and pieces are really good, because it just is going to help this group continue to move forward and add that structure piece and refine the things that we're doing. So I think we're at a good place.
Can I add something? I'll say it to Zach later, but I think specifically to his point, I think it would be really good if there was like, and maybe there is, because I keep failing to figure out how to get in the Google Drive, but like to have, in addition to the notes that are meeting by meeting, but just like a document for each major event or a handful of different, there's one for the claim sale and one for readathon,
And there are, but they're not available to everybody.
Yeah.
Right, so.
And so then if we made sure that after an event, and as a secretary, I could help with some of that pulling from, we just have, there's been
If
a
you
lot of.
could go in and clean up the plant sale document, that'd be super.
I'll
Because
need
it's like
input on it.
13 pages long.
Okay, and I could, but I'm saying
I
also
didn't write
like,
it.
with all the ideas that just got brought up here, I don't know if we've agreed on all of them, so I wouldn't wanna go in and like, say, here's the new plan for the readathon next year, but I could mark it up and make a suggestion and bring it back and say like, do we agree this should be? But now maybe they need to be, I don't know if there's one to build off of, or if
I think that there are, I know there are copious notes for the plant sale. And last year, that was the only folder that I had access to, so I haven't
sure
dug around
about
to see if there's other stuff, but I bet you there are, because it was sort of like the PTO 10 years ago was very, very organized.
Which one was? You said-
10
Like
years
10
ago?
years ago or something. I mean,
Oh, at this
because you
school?
figure every parent is here max 6 years, maybe
Oh,
7.
gotcha.
They send their kids here for high five.
They have parents that have lots of children too. Can be
Yeah.
That's true.
Kim will be
yes.
here for a while.
Well, I wonder if this sort of can wrap into, so this notion of we need repositories for things to go, and stuff does exist, but it's done in an organized fashion. The website's just been redesigned, so there's now a good front face that can certainly be a place, a public repository. There's this notion about the Facebook page and the Facebook group and the functions of either.
Yep.
And they are easy to make into repositories where things can just be public to the folks and the public to the group. And then the other place, a physical place, is the PTO closet.
Which you had sent a note about.
Right, yeah.
Which I agreed with completely.
So I wonder if all of
I
this
haven't
could be
made my
kind
envelope
of,
yet.
the general drive is how to take the tribal knowledge and make it all transparent. And we've got a physical place
Right.
that, at some point, and I'll volunteer for this also, I'd like some help, organizing that spot so that when parents, I'm a big believer in the notion that when the parent's coming in to volunteer for something, you gotta reduce the barriers so that parent is effective. And I think one of the things is,
Here's the box.
here's the box and
checklist.
stuff, right, yeah. And it's the same thing with the Google Drive, if that's gonna be the repository, then the Facebook, or the website, if that's gonna be the front page. And then stuff is just there to be had. And I know the building of it is gonna, I saw the closet. That's gonna take a bit of time.
Yeah,
So
but
it- no,
it's organized.
It was organized and cleaned over MEA.
Oh, okay.
So Heidi and Linda cleaned it out and organized it and put a couple of our gray cabinets in there. And so it's a lot of, you can walk in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you can see where all the whatever merch is, what the kids call it. So all the merchandise is there, the t-shirts, the lanyards, they're all kind of
Yeah.
in order, so it's a lot cleaner than it was during the literacy night.
Right, right.
Yep.
So that, I think that's kind of a place to
Mhm.
start.
So I just want to hold on to those thoughts, because I think like this is a really great subcommittee, communications, like committee with the Facebook and the website, and obviously the closet's something else, but like we should come back and maybe talk about that in the second half again. Could we spend a little bit more time on like how can we work, you know, if we can, because I'm interested in that as well, and being able to have a repository. But I do want to like make sure we can wrap up along with the readathon, because I didn't read Nicole's update. And I also have just one little thing that I wanted to add, but I'll read Nicole's first. So she said, and she couldn't make it, her kiddo is super sick, so she apologizes. But she said that Nicole will come in on Wednesday afternoon this week, I suppose, to start processing envelopes. Her goal is to send prizes home on Thursday. So for those of you guys that didn't know, on the cover, this is the first year, this is actually new, I think, that they included prizes on the envelope for a number of hours spent reading or minutes read.
Really?
So,
How did I miss? I totally missed that.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything on my envelope.
it should be, flip it on the other side, there was
My
like some
other side was blank.
instructions. Oh, that's a huge bummer. That's a bummer. Was yours blank too?
I actually didn't.
You didn't get one at all.
Yeah, so
I
I
tried.
actually thought kindergarten.
Mine
might
had-
be this, but we just read anyway, it was no big deal. Like-
So,
We got one.
Did we?
I got one.
Yeah, there was some inconsistency with the teachers sometimes
That's-
sending stuff home.
so, she's looking for anybody to help.
I had already raised my hand to volunteer for that, so you can
Awesome.
let her know if you can
Okay.
forward that to me, I'd be happy
I
to.
will do that, all right,
Yeah, I could possibly help Wednesday too.
all right.
Did you have a time?
She said, anyone interested in helping can meet me in the main office at 1 PM or later on Wednesday.
Okay.
And they will probably work room in the main office. Does that work for you guys?
Yeah, it should be fine.
It will be or later for me, but yes.
Okay. Kimberly. I thought so for at least my kiddo, he like gravitated straight to the prizes, and he set this crazy ambitious goal.
Yeah.
It was a lot of time, but it was really helpful and I think exciting. So maybe in the future years we can kind of drum that up too, because at least for my kiddo, he was really motivated to get tattoos, even though we have like dozens of tattoos in our house. But it worked. Book fair, Nicole said we had a good turnout for the book fair and positive feedback about racial and religious diversity presented in the books offered. And she said that we have secured the red balloon for the March Portfolio Night Book Fair as well. She'll send an update when she receives the final invoice, which will tell us how much we earned in a gift card to Red Balloon. We can then determine how to spend it. We still have money with Scholastic and plan to purchase $1 and $2 books from them to have at the book fair as lower cost options. I also purchased a larger readathon prizes with the Scholastic money for the top readers and fundraisers. I think that's some
That's
of
what
the,
those are.
yeah,
They were tattoos and stickers.
yeah.
So.
And then she will let us know at the next meeting how it all worked out.
Yeah, I know that on both of the shifts that I worked, people were, I had several people comment on how they liked it so much better than the Scholastic book fair. I got a lot of, oh, there's none of that plastic. That was the most common comment. And the range of literature aimed at a variety of audiences, I think was very much appreciated.
That's nice.
When did the book fair go, and was it just right here?
During the
During
teacher
conferences.
conferences.
So
Yeah,
it's
it
just
was right
the
here.
2 days?
Mhm.
As it
Yeah.
was, okay. Gotcha. How many books did they bring in? Is it-
I don't know.
idea.
I have no clue.
Okay.
There were, it was a small but really good selection. And I know that we raised, it was over $1,000, that much I know. I can't remember the exact amount because I had the last shift and saw it on the square recording. But
So So Red Balloon donated some books, or they just provided the books?
No, I think they just
I
provided.
No,
think
they
they
s-
But I
provided.
think
Marked
we,
them up
I
a little
think,
bit.
yeah.
Ultimate vendor to Scholastic, I think is what it is.
Yeah, I think that was the,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how previous ones are, but I really like that they hit all the price point, like there were like dollar books. That was super cool,
Mhm.
like,
The dollar books all in.
come tag.
Good.
good. Great, all right, so any other comments on that? I think this is all good feedback for us to sort of come back to. I'm wondering too, at least with the book fair, should there be more of an on-ramp to the book fair? Or was there enough like communication that went out to families about that it was happening? I know my partner didn't get any information, but that's not atypical.
This is on film, Alicia.
I love you, honey.
I have seen other schools do, and I don't know if it's happened here or not, is teachers can go and preview it and make like a wish list of things that they would like for their classrooms. So say like at my daughter's school, if we go to the book
It's
fair.
for the book fair.
Yep,
Yeah.
for the book fair, then I could like purchase a book for her classroom.
Oh,
So then it would benefit the school and it would then be donated to the school. So just like an idea, I don't know, I mean, it just is kind of a way to support the teachers, if interested. You know, you could say, oh, fill out even just like, 5 books or something with the titles, and if someone wants to donate for whoever's classroom, that's how they could do it too.
So the preview occurs before the book fair opens to the general?
Yeah, so
public?
like when it, yeah, so say like with this,
I don't know if we did that with this Red Balloon one, but I know last spring when we had the Scholastic one, the teachers could bring their class down to preview
During
the
day.
book fair during the day. So they would look at stuff and then kids could make a list of what they wanted. But I think what Brianna's saying is then the teachers could make a list, like
What they
a
want.
wish list for their classroom. They write 5 books and maybe like Henry wants to buy his teacher a book and goes in there.
Funny.
I don't know.
yeah, you know.
I think when I was teaching too at my school, we would make just book recommendations for our grade levels, and so that'd be another little thing. Like I would say, "Well, this is a great book. This is a great book. This is a great book," and then I would put that. These are my recommendations for my 5th graders, and so the parents could look at that too and just see.
Yeah.
So that's another way to
that's a
get the
cool
teachers
idea.
engaged and
Yeah.
the kids engaged with possible book options.
Because if I didn't like insist on my kids doing their 20 minutes of reading, you know, and then the 10 books that was it 3rd to, no, like certain grades, they get 10 books each year. The bag that comes with
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So if I didn't like see what they brought, you know, and you know, I wouldn't know what they liked, you know, so I wouldn't know what they were reading already, you know, so I think that's a great idea. Because it's like, I can't just look at the book and say, is this my kid's grade reading level?
Mhm.
So those are some other options for the next one.
And I wonder, if because it was all done, you know, through Square and there's a catalog, I imagine that we could get an online, you know, an online preview.
I don't know if, I have no idea.
I mean,
But
because they have to,
potentially.
I
they
mean,
have
they
to
do
have,
they
they have to
a
have an
website,
e-catalog
they
for
have
it,
an
yeah.
Yeah, so
And so
there's,
that could be circulated even beforehand, and that could
Right.
be a way of, without having to necessarily add another, you know, extra time of setup and losing access to the space. I don't really know how that.
you
how
still
it
have to
goes.
come pick your own book.
Well, yeah, you know, I think the 2 days for everyone else, but I'm saying making it available, getting info out to teachers, getting the notion of reading at grade levels, and that's successful. I'm kind of all about if I can find out online,
Mhm.
that gets me 60% of the way there.
Mhm.
And if there's food, that's another 20%.
So we have an on-ramp opportunity to test this for March. What would be a good, which meeting, should we come back and really start digging in January? Is that too long of a time? I mean, we would.
No, I think that you should do it, because then it's like we address it,
Yeah.
we see where the needs are, where the ideas are, because then we've got February to figure out,
Right.
do we need to try to pull in other people? Do we need to, how do we get parents excited about it? I think a longer lead time gives us a little bit more freedom, because it sneaks up on you.
All
I
of
can't
us.
believe
When
it's
you
already
only
been a
meet
month
once
since
a
our last
month.
meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But so I'm sorry, you're just saying for us to come back and talk about it, or you're suggesting moving the book fair?
No, I'm just, what would be a good time for us
To
to
plan.
come back?
Start.
And when is March portfolio night? Which part of the month does that fall? 'Cause that
The
also-
beginning.
the beginning, so that's even less time
Yeah.
really. Because we'll be meeting at the end of January.
Right.
And then is there a December?
Is there a December meeting?
Yeah.
Usually not, because it's
Did
winter
we-
break.
I thought we were gonna move, since we can't have end of November, we would have an early December.
Yeah.
Like, since we won't have end of November or end of December.
So there won't be a
There won't be an end
November
of November because
instead,
of
okay,
Thanksgiving.
got it.
That was the
Beginning
I
of
was thinking, isn't it like a Tuesday, Wednesday, would it be like the
About
10th,
that,
11th or something?
No, it's a Thursday, we don't have school.
Oh, there we go, so obviously I don't then.
So there's,
I got some spies.
so there's,
Sure.
there's two
Which should be like the
proposals.
5th.
It's always like my daughter's birthday right now,
Okay.
March 5th.
And then we can break, or we can come back.
So we'd either be looking at December 2nd or 9th.
Would it just been a whole week of that?
Yeah.
Yes, he was
He was a
Ghostbusters this
Ghostbusters
morning.
today.
We would not allow him to
I
wear that
wonder-
to school. That's a little,
The second.
it says Halloween costume from when he was 2, but he goes to Thursday, 6 days.
Yeah, I think you're
All right, yeah, you know, whatever.
So,
He's somebody
Just
different.
roll it a little.
It's whatever. Gives him great joy. And a
online.
sense of purpose and self-esteem.
I know we're all kind of, I'm hungry actually, but, so I'm speaking for everybody. But there's two proposals sort of kind of floating around out there. I'll propose them. One is, so this got us into December, and Sarah mentioned that on December 9th that week, there's a family arts night already happening. And maybe, or that Thursday, so maybe having a December 2nd being the following, like one more meeting this year. And then that would potentially on that agenda, maybe we start the pre-planning. I'm just gonna throw that out
We
there.
can do that because we also need to start addressing the plant sale.
Yeah,
Because
So-
it's an enormous,
yeah, that would,
wonderful opportunity for all of you. to
it's so much fun.
It's so much fun.
I like it. I thought it was fun last year. You did.
Portfolio night is Thursday, not that you guys, sorry, you guys
Right.
jumped way away from that, Thursday, March 5th.
Much fit. So,
I got it though.
so that would give us enough time in terms of planning for the book fair.
You
if
found it?
we-
Yeah.
So then the
Made that.
proposal
That's
is
what
to
I
have
thought.
that December 2nd, did you say,
December 2nd.
as our next meeting?
Yeah. Is that, everybody feel good? December 2nd next meeting?
Yeah.
All right.
Thumbs up.
All right, and then
Yes.
also on the agenda for that next meeting, we talk about the March Book Fair.
For the December meeting?
Yes.
Mhm.
All right, good. Begin planning.
The one thing that just came up tonight is that there's happens to be basketball practice at 6:15 in the gym. And so Amy's trying to figure out that childcare piece, so we
Where
should
to take
just
it
check
from.
on
Mm,
those
yeah,
permits and
permits.
overlapping with,
Oh.
Yeah, school events come first.
yeah, totally. So we just have to make sure that we're on top of that. I wrote it down already, but just want to throw that out there to everybody.
Is that basketball practice for the school or for
No,
older kids?
it's for
Oh.
Phelps.
I was like, we have
Yep.
Like, wait a second.
We have a way better gym
So
than they do.
then,
Yeah.
December 2nd.
Yep, so we just have to, just sign up for.
Can we, quick break to eat and then, come back and, do people want a full break? I'd like to get out of here kind of on time, so I kind of leaning towards eating and talking at the same time. Does
Yeah.
people feel good about that?
Totally.
I'll eat on camera.
All right.
Yeah.
Bring some napkins.
Did you each flip? Did you have it in your calendar or did you find it on our?
I
master
found it on
calendar?
our Bancroft calendar
Yeah, that's okay.
webpage.
I knew it was around Elliot's birthday.
Well, I think they just took 2 pizzas down there.
It's a plate.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what, I bet you I didn't take a salad.
is what her email says. Last year, it's, I guess, like, how can we remember from last year accurately? But last year, there was like a list of potentially 5 items here. I could pass my laptop around if you guys wanna see.
Can we ever project on?
Yeah, how do
Oh,
we
I could
access
even
that?
put, yeah, I could
We
plug,
have like
well,
a Apple
looks
TV
very
thing that we
disconnected.
can.
except I only
Because they're
have
looking at it
VGA.
on the live stream.
Oh, yeah, that's, can I just send it to you? Can I just do that?
No, maybe already
No,
did it.
I've got it.
You've got it, so they can see it, but we can't.
Well, you could 30 seconds later, but if you've got it there, just plug
I
that
don't
in.
have a, I only have VGA though.
I think there's one in here.
Is there a VGA? Awesome. So I think in previous years, this has been, kind of imagine, not that much of a rollout, but there's been, generally, there's been discussion at PTO.
No, there's not one.
I could send it to anybody.
You could broadcast from like a.
Kevin has all that.
Oh, that's okay.
It's another in the back of that.
So is the task for tonight is is deciding what spiritware items to order?
The task for tonight is any thoughts about what should or should not be offered, is what Nicole has asked, but we could definitely talk about more. It looks like the flyer that I got is from the previous year, and so it said on this flyer that the orders are due by Wednesday, December 5th. So this would be kind of like a November through early December type of rollout if we kept it the exact same timeline.
And we order by amount requested, so it's not like we have a big stock of them. I know this because apparently my form was turned in late, because somebody isn't really great with his backpack, and they just gave us a different t-shirt.
Well, and I think we have that date so that we can get them by before the kids go to winter break.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember this at all from last year.
that was
It's
really.
like something that goes home?
Yeah.
It's like an order form.
So I proposed that, I mean, so well, we want to talk about what items are offered, but I would propose, like, in addition to just sending the order form home, maybe we could just put out an email to Bancroft PTO parents to let them know it's coming. And I think having,
Promote it on Facebook.
and put it on Facebook and like having just different ways to,
That's been like a 90-day difference. So, I feel like I see things more than I did last year.
yeah.
I'm probably throwing out like a whole like big new thing. But am I correct in that the spiritware is pretty much blue? And I know that's the school color, but that's pretty much the only color we've got, right?
Isn't one of the t-shirts black?
Yeah, there's a gray, yeah, I think we should pass this down. You guys just pass my laptop down. So there's a gray sweater,
Okay.
there's a gray shirt,
I've got it here. if
and
you
a
want to
black
see
one.
this.
Yeah, I can just
Um,
pop over.
and then the bulldog is kind of just like a dog face. It's
Right,
not
right.
necessarily the Bancroft bulldog, which,
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah, it's
don't-
a little different than what I've seen before.
yeah.
Okay.
So you mentioned like smell.
I want to be supportive and I want to like get and wear some spiritware. I have a suggestion and I know it would cost money to do this, but I was thinking, how would people feel about, or could we get like some rainbow tie-dye shirts with the Bancroft emblem on it? And, you know, one, it's a lot more colorful for my daughter. You know, girls, they like light colors and bright and, well, at least in my experience, you know, she tends that way. Plus, it's rainbow. It's kind of supportive of our, you know, families that are LGBTQI. I'm sorry, I don't know the thing, but you know what I'm saying. In a very soft sense. That's not, you know, wouldn't be like in people's face who might not, you know, be as supportive.
Would that be something we would just ask
We could-
Nicole to look into what
Yeah.
the options are.
We
or
could ask,
something
I don't
like
know what
options,
sort of
but-
on-ramp that would be for that, but we could certainly do that. Do you guys have thoughts in terms of spirit wear ideas?
You'd mentioned like kind of looking for like small and like, you know, like what about like winter hats?
I was gonna say winter hats.
Like it's one, it's like something that people actually need at this time of year. Two, it's
Just think, you'll just have like boxes and boxes of them downstairs strewn across the cafeteria.
so this is something
that's
that's been
where-
happened before.
No, that's where all of my sons.
That's just
Oh,
what
yes.
happens.
That's where the winter
All
beer
the,
ends
all
up
the lost and found.
Yo, yeah.
Yeah, it was
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I do too.
I wonder, is there a metric at all to show how these items did last year, to sort of inform?
I can't find it in the register still. I
Oh.
cannot find the spirit wear
Dang,
beyond a giant loss. So all I have in there is the purchase.
okay.
What vendor is getting used for this? Is it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So we changed it last year. And I can't remember who we went with, but supposedly it was more consumer friendly and not sweatshop sourced. And so I think that's what Nicole
Yeah, it must be just
found
like
as a vendor.
the Made in America brand.
They could probably
They're
do stuff.
pretty basic.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's stuff they can do that is, I guess I'm just wondering if there's stuff they can do that isn't to show, like the hats of the hat.
That's a good
Well, we
That's an
have
option.
lanyards and plush dolls and,
Perfect.
yeah, hoodies, t-shirts, long sleeves.
Do we order the plush dolls from the same place that we get the t-shirts?
I think so.
There's 2 pages.
Plush dolls were not on the order from last year.
Not the little bulldogs? We have a bunch of them in the PTO closet.
Yeah.
I think that there have been, in previous years too, this might be helpful, is just like the print has had to stay fairly simple colors because of the cost. And I don't know if that might be why we haven't been able to go to the Bancroft Bulldog, because we have that Bulldog that's, it'd be interesting to know, like,
I think that bulldog's fine.
do you think this Bulldog
Yeah.
in here? Okay.
Oh, so that, you're saying this Bulldog was one of their generic designs, they would cost more for a custom, the Bulldog?
I don't
that's our
know
Bulldog.
if, or if it was just like, this is a dog that we could add to.
I think it's because it's the Bancroft Bulldog that's on some of our items is multiple colors. And so
It's
that,
like that guy up there.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so it costs more to print that on things than it does just a plain
Sure.
one or two color thing.
But he's a very friendly looking bulldog.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I'm not gonna fall on the sword for that bulldog. So I like the bulldog that's on the t-shirt. I think it's a nice simple design that looks good on kids' shirts.
Yeah.
That one is just good for
He's so
calendars and stuff.
That's a very
Not-
like Hannibal
not
Buress
t-shirts,
era
yeah.
thing.
It is, that's funny. So we have a suggestion for, for winter hats.
Yes.
And brighter colors or different
Brighter
color
colored
choices.
shirts.
and then
So you
banana.
could take one of those, like the Bulldog even,
Mhm.
that could be put on, you offer people different colors. I think what the problem then becomes is the cost per shirt increases because you're making separate orders for different kinds.
Yeah,
Well, I'm not saying we have to go crazy, but just, I mean, my boys are fine in the blue shirts, but my,
One other one.
I just thought, you know, if we had a little, something more lighter color for, you know, the girls.
Well, would the compromise or the middle be, rather than a multitude of designs, like rather than the word graph thing, we have you've got a blue with yellow, and then you have a yellow with blue text, and or a rainbow with different. So rather than there being 6
Multiple
different
designs
designs
or
or
different shirt
something,
colors.
Yeah.
and then then it's just a wash in terms of
Right.
of cost.
Sure, because the art.
Yeah.
And it comes back to your original question, like which one's sold? Like I don't think very, and
Right,
from my opinion, is I don't think very many kids or families bought the Wordle that has all the Bancroft stuff. I think a lot of kids just went like the basic Bancroft
Right.
or the Bulldog
We
shirt.
only have one because it's not what we ordered. but-
And I know the Wordle one was that one we had for staff, that all the staff got when and it was a couple years ago now. So I think that could, if we just take out some designs that we don't necessarily need or that didn't sell well, then we could replace it with
Different color.
a blue and yellow tie-dye.
Yeah.
But we've had different designs in the past too. I think some of our teachers sport them on Bancroft Spirit Days.
I will also, just, this is not a replacement for, or it's not for Spirit Day, but might be something additional that'd be interesting, is that I was at an event this fall where they had, it was like a park board fundraiser, and there's a company, and maybe now there's a couple of them that will live screen print there, and so they have, I don't know what their cost ratio is, but like they have all the t-shirts in all the colors, and then you have your design, and they've got like 4 different color options, and so you paid, but the t-shirts were like $20. But it might be something that, I don't know what their split is, you know, of.
What is the price point on these t-shirts, like per?
They range, youth t-shirts are $10, adults are 15. The hoodies are 30 for youth, 40 for adult.
Yeah, that's good.
Decent price.
And these are, I'm sorry, is this a fundraiser item?
No.
Are we looking at margin or no? We're not, right?
No,
I don't, yeah.
Okay, I just want to.
no, that was, I mean, Andy talked about that a lot last year. It's like, we do this for school engagement,
Yeah,
not to raise money.
Mhm.
because I imagine there's not very much margin on the $40
Yeah.
sweatshirt.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Good
It's a
question.
nice hoodie.
I like, yeah, you can wear
I
it.
like my hoodie.
Okay.
Cool.
Need a new one.
All right.
Oh, it's
So-
for you, you'll get one.
So what did we just decide? What just
So the plan,
And just so you know, I've been streaming the sheet the whole time, so no one's watching us eat.
They may hear some of it.
I know, we're just like, there was a proposal to add hoodies, let's just all agree, or not
Hats.
hoodies, hats, thank
Hats.
you.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Winter hats, and then look into, tie-dye, rainbow tie-dye,
Or different, yeah.
or different color options.
Fewer designs, more
Fewer
color,
designs.
more color.
Just brighter colors.
Yeah.
Great, and then, we'll send those notes along to Nicole. And then, anybody interested in helping Nicole if she needs another parent to sound off to? I mean, she's got us over on the leadership team, but.
What is the date on this one again?
It looks like it'll probably come at us pretty quickly, because it's gonna be, December 5th, I guess, is the previous flyer, last year's flyer, to get the orders in.
And I
so-
remember, didn't we had a while to order, I feel like.
So the work to be done
Still didn't
is
turn.
getting the word out, organizing the order taking, doing some follow-up,
Yeah,
and
there'll be
then
an up-
managing orders when they
yeah,
come in.
Updated flyer, and then
can
making
upload
it.
that.
I mean, I'll volunteer on that one.
Okay.
I can upload the flyers and
Well,
emails or whatever.
And I wonder, we have some immediate work for this, but as a sort of a long-term thing, I mean, I'm guessing that the Bancroft Bulldog is not historical to the school, or is there?
There's no.
Right,
it's not.
so I wonder if, well, how, as a proposal or as an idea or a community proposal, whatever we're doing here, reaching out to alumni about funding, getting, an actual school logo that's a school, so that when we're moving, when my kid graduates and comes back to teach or whatever, he's like, that was the dog, that was my dog, or that was my, And the reason I mention it is because I've Googled, Bancroft Bulldog. There's another Bancroft Bulldog out in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
It's got a
There are
great looking logo.
lots of Bancroft
Yeah.
elementary schools. I went to sign up for Amazon Smile and I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
which one am I supposed to pick?
And so I first thought, that's a great looking logo. I was about to download it till I realized it's not here. So I just wonder, and this doesn't have to be, maybe it doesn't have, I just want to throw this out there and put it in the minutes, that this could be one of those long-term projects, appeal to alumni. It could be a fundraiser thing also, but, they donate money so that we get a logo that sticks rather than every 3 or 4 years. It's a different thing. I don't know.
Would that be in the domain of the PTO to define the school's brand identity?
Well, I mean, that's certainly a good question, but I think.
it's something that we can start the discussion
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a communications department with the
Right.
school district, and so I know they've tried to brand us some things, but I'll leave it there. But I think, I mean, that's a great place to start the conversation. I know we have lots of, I mean, Bancroft's been around since 1912, and so we have lots of historical archives too that I could start looking through and see
I
if
bet
there
there's
was.
there's gotta be a
Or
good
even,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have one in my
Throwback
office.
tape.
Yeah, I have one in my office that I found. There was a time capsule box that was it was 1987, because when the Twins won the World Series, because they had a Wheaties box in there and whatever else. And anyways, there was a folder from Bancroft from 1987, and I have it framed in my office because the bulldog was really cool. He's like holding like a little like pennant that says Bancroft on it, and I think that'd be a cool one. But I don't know like when Bancroft became the Bulldogs. It was it Bulldogs from day one, you know, and I can start looking through the archives and see like what were some other bulldog-looking things that they had on any.
I mean, this is basically
flyer.
the origin story. So I'd like to volunteer.
And that would tie back also, or possibly could tie back also to the building enhancement arcs. They talked about a bulldog statue possibly outside.
Yep.
So we would probably want to know
Yeah,
that.
a couple 30
Right.
years.
Just waiting for them to show up with their proposal.
Right. Or even like a bulldog art, you know, big art piece too. If it's not a whole statue, could it be like refined, taking like a real classic version and just like tweaking it slightly from an artist, local artist or something.
That would be cool.
I mean, I like the 80s version way better than that one, so.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to see it. Can you,
See it?
yeah, if you guys find a couple things to bring back.
Hammer pants and something, or what?
Yeah, parachute
Earlier
pants,
than
air pants. Be fun.
All right, so and then this leaves us with not enough time to talk about committee proposals. Has anybody done any work or have some updates to share on your committee work that you've done in the last month? Anybody do any?
I can share briefly, on the communication side, you can cut me off at any point.
Hold us up 2 minutes.
Sure. So what I've tried to do is just kind of, like Paul said, just kind of dig in and kind of see what tools we have, where we at. So I dug around and we figured out we have this Google account, we have a Google Drive account, we have 105 email accounts. We have 52 mobile contacts. Whether we want to move to a texting platform, we can certainly talk about that.
You said 52.
52 mobile contacts, yeah. And let's see what else. So I got a hold of Linda, and I got access to edit the PTO page on the NPS site, so that's all updated, and I have access to that now. And Paul and I got control of the Facebook page and the group. We updated those, which was big. And then I put together a little PTO 101 flyer, which kind of just said, the main part of it was PTO spends $25,000 a year in support of the school, and it kind of listed off all the things we support in the school. So something we could hand out at the table. Because when I came on board, it took a while to kind of figure out, what do we do? And anyways, so we put together that. We have 110 on the Facebook page, 96 on the group. So I'm just trying to gather a lot of photos now, if there's any archival photos. So when we're at a table, it'd be great to have just like a little more information on like I said, the plant sale on the book fair. We have an image, so if you guys are at things, just take a snapshot at least so we can start having some visuals to kind of bring everyone up to speed quickly on what we're doing. So I'm happy to put that stuff together if we can find some more photos. Just like a basic, 5.5, 8.5 booklet that we can, here's what we do if you want to get involved, here's all our projects. Paul set up with the live streaming now, so we have a page that we're posting all those links on. So yeah, I think we have some tools in place now, we have access to them, and we can start kind of building our communications off that, so it's exciting.
Given that the Facebook page and group are so close in numbers, but is it the Facebook page that you're gonna primarily?
We're gonna do both of them, and as Paul pointed out, it's the group's kind of members communicating with each other,
Mhm.
and then the page is gonna be more of an outward facing, so we'll continue to use both of them, so.
Okay.
I wonder if there is any work that needs to be done in terms of for the group membership, you know, folks that sort of moved on that may not necessarily want to be hammered with, hey, do you want to volunteer to staff a table or whatever, but, and then the page one, you know, we just grow those numbers and just everyone who's liked it, just keep them.
Yeah, yeah. People do email back and say, take me off, so they kind of clean those out as they come in, but I've had too many, so. Yep.
Do you guys have for communications any big projects you're working on in the next month or two that you need support with?
No, we haven't really got that far yet. Yeah, not at this point.
I think it's more shoring up
Yeah.
the tools and building the following. with
But
more
we
information.
have the drive now, so there's a lot of stuff there, so we'll start dumping, getting everyone access to the drive if people want.
Yeah, like I'm gonna clean out the treasurer stuff and the plant sale stuff in my free time.
Yeah.
Do you have an update?
What's that?
I do, a little bit. I think
You didn't get the mental meltdown that I sent to these guys last night.
So I was just realizing, I don't even remember, my subcommittee is outreach, community outreach. One thing that would be helpful to me actually is to know which subcommittees got picked up, and for that to be something that we share out with a wider community too, of saying like, and people could come and create other ones, but mainly we kind of have capacity to staff the ones that we have. So in our outreach-ish, community outreach group, which Jack and, were you in that one, Zach? No, there are two people in it, I think, who are not here tonight, and we both did, no, Mike, we're not. So we both did two of us did late in the game outreach on what we had said. So one of the main, or upcoming, the first thing we would like to do is do some door knocking between now and school choice deadline in February. I don't know exactly when the date is this year, I actually couldn't find it online, but we had talked about trying to do it in the fall. I think that time is trickling away, but I think we might be able to be in good stead to do it in December, at which point we might as well do it in January, would be my guess. And I think one of the questions we were going to ask, which maybe wasn't clear in the email, was also if there was any open houses here that we should drive people towards with our timing.
That's a good idea.
But so that would be another piece to ask. But we had reached out to the district and then to Diego, and it sounds like both those messages are going to the district about whether or not we can get any kind of knock list about they do the screenings of children when they're 3, so you have kind of a sense of kids when they're coming into kindergarten age. If not, we can just do more of a broadcast approach, but if they give us any kind of knock list, and then if we could carry choice cards, which from Diego's experience, it sounds like that is, both of those things should be things we should be able to work out. It's just gonna be a little bit of a question of how to, where to focus, since we are not a community school, but I think some of the impetus had been around doing specifically neighborhood outreach, just because it's really nice to walk to a neighborhood school, but if people wanted, we could kind of do it by where we have capacity, so if people want to knock their own neighborhoods, I think that's great. So I think we will need follow-up, but expect maybe by next meeting that we would come back. And if there are any suggestions now about a particular week or time that's better than another one, that would be helpful.
So just to add, thank you, Sarah. I mean, we had a conversation briefly too about it, and I did reach out to our student placement office and the director of enrollment, or whatever his title is, to get a list of incoming kindergartners or students in the area. And we are in a different, I guess, situation because we're a magnet school. And so our attendance area is entire zone 2. And so I know the principal at Green and the principal at Lindale have both had door knocking campaigns, but they have like a defined attendance area. So I'm gonna reach out to them too to see how they did it, what materials they organized, and who did it. But I reached out to the district to see, because we're such a big area, what are some ways that we can accomplish that efficiently. So I'll bring that information back to your group.
And I would guess we wouldn't be able to knock our whole area, but we, as long as they're okay, and if you guys have opinions on like where is high value for us to target, I think we should start with, you know, 1 day and.
Okay.
I'm wondering if, so you were thinking in January, and including in on that, information around High Five? 'Cause I just like, I run into a lot of families that just have no clue.
Yep.
They've totally missed the bus on the school choice, and like, just like knowing that's even an option. I mean, I know like there's always a wait list, but like there's families that maybe would participate if they even knew they could do it. I just know, so.
I was just thinking about, I wonder about any, Melissa, actually, I was thinking, our children happen to attend the same daycare. And I saw you posted something about how great Bancroft was on like their page, but I wonder about just like daycares or preschools around, and if there's any, like the outreach that can be done, and what specific rules are not, you know, like I think of ours specifically, well, we could say, hey, this is, you know, school, can I put a school flyer out here? Or do you do any sort of school fair? Like, I think like Joyce Preschool does like a little bit of a school fair, you know, at some point for their families. So I just wonder about like looking at the marketing side that way too, for incoming
I
kindergartners.
think that's a great idea. Joyce does not have enough MPS representation on their school fair. Yeah, former Joyce parent too.
Yeah, that sounds great. That was another idea that had come up from, maybe it was Brady or somebody else had mentioned, someone who came to the group saying they wanted to do outreach to schools. And I had also said to Diego, if there are other schools, because we're a magnet, if there are schools like this particular area's Northrop. So I think, you know, that would want, I think it would be fine for us to pair up with other schools with the overall drive. I mean, I'm interested in drawing people to Bancroft, but I'm also just interested in getting people to the Minneapolis public schools and making sure that, you know, that person-to-person outreach happens. So those are all possibilities.
Great. So that needs to go into the January or December. Making
Yes,
sure that comes
I
in
will
for
update you
December.
before then to make sure that we have something to say, but that's my hope.
Were there, before we wrap up here, are there any other, I think there was a cooking night or a green committee? Any?
There is, yes, but I do not have anything to update with. The green committee, yes.
Would you have, sorry to cut you off.
Nope, you didn't.
Did you, so is there anything that you would like support on over the next month or two? In terms of helping move that forward?
I guess, like, as I said, starting out with like, I would need to be able to reach out to the team like off meeting time, so.
Get you our contact
Yeah,
information.
please.
Yep. All right, I'll make sure, I have to follow up with you anyways. So
Okay.
I'll send out, contact information. Anybody else?
So, we didn't really do, we had a committee that was really family cooking plus a cultural celebrations events thing. There's not been any work.
I was gonna ask if they sent anything out.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
but at Math and Literacy, I took that as an opportunity to sort of just poll folks. That was a little voting thing. But the thing that I did want to sort of, I am still interested in moving forward with at least a cultural celebration part of it. And I understand that our calendar is pretty well programmed. I mean, there's stuff that occurs, and I just don't, like, it seems to me that there are different tendrils doing different things. So one support item would, for me, would be to have a better understanding of how that programming starts or occurs, or, you know, is that district that comes down to here versus what's local to us and comes on up. And so I'm not really clear what those relationships are. And I also understand there are other cultural groups that are sort of meeting on their own little councils, you know, just sort of working with them, or what outreach has been done. So I really don't know what's been done and what exists. But I think there was interest, at least off of that one, you know, engagement thing. And so I do think it's worth the effort. So that's kind of where I am in my head. And I just don't know how do I, you know, what would I reach out to for a resource or guidance?
To have cultural
I think
celebration, or?
There's that you have, but, there are other events that occur that are already sort of culturally rooted that have been programmed. So I don't want to over-program, I want to reach out to the groups that we have that maybe aren't, able to sort of share their stuff yet. But I also don't want to necessarily compete, because there's stuff that seems to be on the calendar that occurs regularly enough, and there's some stuff that's, at least at the last meeting, there was a district thing that occurred that I didn't come to, I don't remember what it was now, but. So, I mean, there's already programming to be had, yeah. So, I just don't know what structures are sort of already in place, or what that process is for all that other stuff before we layer on stuff that we want to author ourselves.
Yeah, and that's something that we can talk through or think about. We try to have one family event per month.
Yeah.
And some of them are already kind of programmed in, like you say, November is our turkey bingo night. And then December we've had is our arts night. That could be one where we could be a cultural celebration too. And then January is our roller skating. And so, we could add, it's hard to add things and then have teachers or people be part of it, because a lot of us already spend a lot of time here at school and devote some nights being here. We also have some of the monthly dictated things. So this month is Native American Awareness Month or whatever it is. And so we have our Native American Family Involvement Day, which is November 8th. And then we'll have African American Parent Involvement Day. And so it's just a day. But I think having a broader cultural celebration, or a celebration of cultures at our school, I think would be something that we could.
I think part of the notion for this too was not necessarily to try and steal evenings so much as to try and put it in, put it in with daytime events, and it would be an over the lunch thing if parents are able to volunteer, or one particular group of parents, wanted to sort of take that on. The other thing was getting in front of teachers, and I don't know if there's a process for that kind of thing where. I think they just mentioned regarding readathon, some teachers like that they didn't get impacted in terms of the curriculum. So right there, that says something to me that we want to have kids do Dia de las Flores, for example, but maybe that's not quite in the program for art making for the kids that particular week. So I guess there's a whole lot of impact, or other groups that get impacted by the fact that we might want to put on an event or an activity. And it's just sort of navigating what that is. That's the part that I know I don't have, and maybe for those of us that are new, we don't necessarily have yet.
One thing you just said super briefly that I really love is, what if we did turn that arts night into a celebration of the many cultures here at Bancroft? It would take some coordination to get people from the various communities to showcase the artwork from that community, but that would be super cool.
Yeah. I think last year we had the Aztec dancers come and perform. We had a number of musical things. I know this year I think your band's going to come and perform. We haven't really talked about it.
If you want it,
yeah, I think we talked about having that possibility, and so I think that could be something that we could do. I know our specialists are doing, Mr. Maxwell last year had the stilts and all those things, so that was kind of a fun activity they did in the gymnasium. So I think there's lots of opportunities. It's already a night that's scheduled.
Right.
But I think coordinating, connecting with the specialists and figuring that out, I think that's a possibility.
So maybe that could be, when is that?
December 12th or 13th.
What's the race?
It always is.
Speaking of which, we have turkey bingo coming up next month. Do we need to collect volunteers for that tonight?
That'd be great. It was on my list to talk about today with our leadership team, because it's usually been all of the staff and teachers that are volunteering. We have our bingo caller that comes, a former teacher from here. And then
pro bingo caller.
Super. Really quite
yes, and the outfits that she wears, and it's quite entertaining. Sequins and visors, like she's from Vegas. But it's normally been done by the staff.
Okay.
We've not had parent volunteers do it. it's kind of a staff thing, so I'm not saying it's exclusive, but we do a turkey fundraising thing, so the staff we get on 3 teams, and we have a contest to see which team can raise the most money, and all the money goes to buy the turkeys that we give away at Turkey Bingo, and then all of the accoutrements, the stuffing and the vegetables and whatever else, you get a big turkey basket. And then any extra money goes to gifts. So every family goes away with something, whether it's a whole turkey dinner, whether it's just one turkey, whether it's a gift card to Walmart or Target. Last year we gave away movies. I don't know where we got all these movies. We also have a partnership with UPS, and they come and they help and make all the baskets for us and like wrap them up in cellophane.
Cool.
They donate some money to the cause too, and so it's just kind of been a staff fundraiser for the families and kids. And then the staff does.
Keep doing that.
I know. I mean, like, there's no need to get in the way.
Yeah.
I would say, but if you need support or if there's extra
Yeah.
help, I think like this would be a good group to call on.
Okay.
I mean, I would say things that would be helpful, and Diego, tell me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong, would be like cleanup. Like at the end of the night, you know what,
Yeah.
like everybody's kind of been running around, and it's nice to have like just a lot of hands, you know,
Yeah.
like whether it's sweeping the floors or putting the tables and chairs away, you know, we all kind of just stay and work as hard as we can, and
Set up too.
yeah, clean up and set up. I think those would be things that could be helpful if people are around and able. I also know that, you know, everyone has families and it's hard to stay
Well,
late.
they'd all be here.
And the kids, yeah, and then they'll be super helpful too at that point in the night, right?
Yeah, so Turkey Bingo is November 21st, and then Arts Night is December 12th.
So we could put a call out to the PTO list for setup and cleanup volunteers.
Yeah, we
And
should
then
do
have, like, is there a time? Can you send me the times
Yeah.
in which you would need those?
Yep.
And then we can, and then
You
if
guys
you
should
have,
just do it on a sign-up genius and let people, then
Yeah.
you can track them.
yeah. Good.
And then, so then regarding the Arts Night thing, whose is that?
It's a,
So currently, all the family nights have been the schools, but I would love to get support, and
And has there
And
been
right-
work done on that yet, or?
I don't know.
Okay.
So the Arts Night last year was owned by the specialists, so music, art, gym, media, Spanish,
Performing arts.
and so I think they're the ones
Sure.
in the planning stages also this year. And so I don't know where they're at in what they're planning to do. So that's a conversation I can have with them tomorrow, and then say that we have this possibility of having it a cultural celebration too, and what would that look like, and then I can put people in, and connect people that way.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great. Like you had the Aztec dancers, you know, certain culture for dance, certain culture for the performing arts, you know, just to like kind of, what's that word, focus in on different culture for each one.
one opportunity, I guess, if you want, I'll just throw this out here, and I think we're about up, but for the, if you have, how's the 5th grade band doing? Are they just getting started?
I think they're just getting started.
Are they just getting started? Can they play a couple of notes?
They would, by December, probably.
Yeah, because like our band can share like some of our simplest songs, and then they can play along. Like, I mean, we have like whole
Free
night
bird.
songs, and then it's a marching band. So if you guys are curious,
Even
so it
better.
fits well within
Yeah.
the high school band, and so there's and they could just play along, and then
So they should be able to play a couple notes, because traditionally, or historically, we've had Art Buddies Parade, and that's, you know, usually in December, and so they lead the Arts Buddies Parade, and so there might be some kids that might be able to play. We don't have Arts Buddies this fall because the woman was on maternity leave, but they should be ready to play a couple notes.
it'd be
Okay.
fun.
One or two.
They only need three, right, for most pop songs?
Yeah. Can I say one more thing about subcommittees? So one, I think that it didn't get picked up was the idea of like a subcommittee in charge of larger engagement around big proposals, like proposals for whatever we were calling them, investments in the school, which maybe is just something that the full PTO could plan, but and maybe once I got past the door knock, I would switch focus and have more interest in that, but that does seem like something that's still a little bit hanging out there, and that maybe we should either check in about in December or maybe in January if things are getting built up for December to like, I think we'll end up in the same position as last year of having it out there that like, yeah, we've got some money to spend, but we really need to come up with a way to ask for ideas for that, or to set up some kind of process.
And that, I mean, that piggybacks with this whole cultural celebration thing, because there's, the thing about it is the engagement with the community at large to come with ideas to for us to execute, or to facilitate for them, right? So I think that's a hand in glove kind of communication effort right there.
I could try to spend some time thinking about that. As part of.
We could have something about it at a table, on the 12th, just an initial thing of the few ideas that have come up so far, but I don't even know if that's premature versus just getting incoming ideas over a sustained period of time.
Yeah, I feel like that's the kind of thing, if we're thinking about making an investment, it's more like an infrastructure investment, say, that we want to have a longer period of time for soliciting ideas versus trying to push something quickly just because
Right.
do it, just because we can.
Yeah.
I think it should be a focus more on investing in the right thing that's going to make people feel really, really good, which takes, it's going to be like hundreds of voices before there's that one nugget that's like, yes, that's the one.
Yeah.
Unless it's the third grader statue.
Yep. They're preparing. They have a proposal, and so they're just running through their little paces. So they'll bring it. I think they'll be ready for the next one.
Okay.
Fun. Great. All right, anything else?
It kind of looks sad. And so we thought, should we decorate for them? So I don't know, I just want to put out there this notion of, we really like our teacher, first of all, which is why we were in the faculty, because we were volunteering. And so just as a thank you thing, I don't know if that happens regularly enough already for the teachers. And I imagine maybe it already does, so I'm sure this is not original. But is this something as a particular side project, low priority for the teachers in the faculty lounge, so it's not so sad? That's all I want to bring.
I think
Is it in
the
old
teacher.
part of the school?
Yeah, it's the same staff lounge that we've had.
I
The teachers would love it because this was brought up. I don't remember at what meeting it was, but how the lounge is not a fun place to go and it's blah. So this was brought up by our staff. So you're not far off.
Yes.
I think
Teachers work so hard and they get so little appreciation.
And I think that would be
compared to what they deserve.
a great project to
I
just
propose we
some
do it.
flowers or vase of something or some fun pictures
Stuff on
or
the walls,
Paint
yeah.
the walls.
Yeah.
Well, I
What's
think
the
that- I think-
furniture look like?
The windows don't look.
Well, no,
Right down to IKEA, we can sort that problem right now.
we have new furniture in there,
Okay.
but it's
Okay.
it's a sad looking lounge.
It's
But I
it's
think
very
we should also
functional.
ask the teachers what they want.
Well, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So I didn't want to all of a sudden launch another half hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
I did want to get that on the thing now so that it becomes on the thing later.
Can we add that to the agenda for the next section discussion?
I'm sorry, can I just continue this conversation? I promise this will be super quick. But we should ask the teachers now, as soon as possible, what they would want, so that at our next meeting, we can look at that list to say, here are the things that we think are feasible.
Sure, I have a staff meeting tomorrow morning. So
Ask
we
them
can
what they want, tell
ask
them to go nuts, and tell them they're not gonna get everything they put on
Don't
the
forget
list.
to remind me.
Just make a list. Everyone will make a list. It can be their exit ticket.
It's their exit
Great,
ticket.
got it.
Yep.
Got
And
it.
then we need a warm welcome for tomorrow too.
Okay, on it.
Are we done?
Okay, yes.
All right, a couple announcements. Obviously, well, hopefully, you all received a letter along with the newsletter on Thursday that Ms. Nichols is moving on to be the interim principal at Emerson Spanish Immersion School. And so her last day here will be November 26th. So she'll start at Emerson on December 2nd. So we're very excited for her. I'm very sad and disappointed to be losing my assistant principal. But I'm excited for Ms. Nichols. So this will be her last PTO meeting if our next one's December 2nd. You'll be at the next site council meeting because that's November 7th. But So we are going to be looking at a replacement or a interim assistant principal to finish out the year. And so we put out some feelers already. So hopefully that person will also then start December 2nd. And hopefully there'll be some overlap time so there can be some just transition there. I know Miss Nichols will be over at Emerson a few days just to kind of transition into that role. And so I just want to wish you the best. This will be your last PTO meeting. But yeah. Yeah, well, thank you. And then the last time, this will be all site council stuff too, but we were over enrolled in kindergarten and first grade. They did give us a staffing adjustment, and so this we got one associate educator. So it'll be a 30-hour associate educator. That position has been posted, and we start interviewing tomorrow. No, Wednesday. We start interviewing Wednesday for candidates to hopefully support in our kindergarten and first grade. Kindergarten is still over by 15 kids, and first grade is still over by 8 kids. So they will primarily be supporting our kinders and our first graders.
You're
That's
posting
what they
it
will
tomorrow?
Do. No, it's already been posted.
Oh, it's already been posted.
Yep. So it's up right now. We also have another position posted for a one-on-one SEA for a new kiddo that we got in our ASD program. We just finished camp. I went to camp with the 5th graders. It was amazing. Your son was in my cabin. That was fun with all the kids. It was a great team building experience for them. It's just wonderful it's just in Hudson, so it's just on the other side of the St. Croix River, other side of the border. But you would think you're in a different country when you take some of the kiddos up there and just we're out in the wilderness and there's just trees and field and it's great. And my favorite time was when they finished the camp songs and the fire and they walked out and they looked up and they could see like every single star and they just thought that was super cool. And so it was just a fun opportunity, team building, working together to solve problems. But yeah, that's about it. And then Unity Day was last Wednesday. We had a student-led assembly, so we have IB ambassadors, which are our 5th graders. Ms. Nichols supported in the endeavor, but it was National Bullying Awareness Month, and the 23rd was Anti-Bullying Day or Unity Day, and our ambassadors led an assembly with all of our students. So it's the first time we've had an all-school assembly. We usually divide it K2 and 3-5. We got everybody in the gym, and the 5th graders led the assembly, and it was a work in progress, but it was a great start, that's for sure.
We could totally call it a success. It was
a success because it was the first time we had all school assembly and the first time we let some kids lead it, and so it was a success. And then your kids might be talking to you, maybe the kindergartners and first graders a little more impressionable, about our passports. And so we have essential agreement passports. Essential agreements are our rules for school. And so we have our essential agreements for our common spaces, so cafeteria, arrival and dismissal, playground, hallways, and bathrooms. And so each classroom has gone to the specialist of that area to talk about what the essential agreements are for that area. So there's no pooping on the floor or the wall, and make sure pee goes in the toilet, and you wash your hands with a pump of soap and use 2 paper towels. So every single kid's getting the same conversation. We don't always talk about the poop and the pee on the walls. And so it's just a way. Yeah. So it's just a way of how we are and how we be in our spaces, and it's every kid gets the same conversation. So once.
So do they have a class passport or an individual?
Individual passport. So every kid has a passport, and we're going to do this 3 times a year. So the fall was after MEA break. And then winter is going to be after winter break, and spring is after spring break, because then kids need to be reminded of the rituals and routines and procedures, because sometimes they forget.
And they get a little sticker.
And they get a little sticker that they went to that area. So they might be talking about their essential agreements passports. So.
Or come dressed with one.
Yep. That's all I have. Quick updates. Quick.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah. But again, thank you all for sending your kids to Bancroft, and I appreciate this engagement and your willingness to give your time even more than just sending your kids here. So I appreciate that very much.
Okay, thanks.
It makes Bancroft a great place to be.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll see you everyone in early December. Please leave your cards here and we'll put them in the PTO box. And then we'll be able to review these in the next room.
All right. There we go.
Hey,
Great
Zach.
committee work done, I guess.
It is true. But I was like,
Yeah.